Hello and welcome to the Philippines. This video is about your money and traveling overseas. Would apply to many countries, not just the Philippines. I'm going to give you some advice and I'm going to give you some warnings based on some of my experiences, the experiences of other expats and tourists who I have met, and of course just my general research on the topic. First of all, bring new and bring clean money. If you and bring larger bills. They prefer $100 bills. They will accept 50s, even 20s, but you generally will get a lower exchange rate in the Philippines and probably most places. If they are torn, if they are written on, if they are crumpled, good chance that they won't even accept them. But if they do accept them, you will get a much lower rate of exchange. So keep that in mind. I'm sure the same goes with other countries' currencies that you would bring here as well. Now, I see a lot of Japanese and Koreans exchanging dollar bills, and I don't know if they're coming from the USA or if they exchange their national currency for $100 bills, because generally across the world, the U.S. dollar is still considered the easiest currency in which to exchange. If you have folded or crumpled bills, written on bills, torn bills, they likely will they won't accept them. My bank in Phoenix, Arizona, Wells Fargo, told me it would take them, I think, 7 working days to get me brand new $100 bills. But she went through a stack of bills and was able to find enough really good looking $100 bills that was acceptable, and I didn't have any issues with them. Many of the international airports have money exchange places in them, and you can exchange it there. It would be convenient if you're coming from your own country. You're in the airport to exchange 50 US dollars or 100 into pesos. Your exchange rate at those places is generally substantially less than what you will get in the Philippines. But there is a convenience factor. The airports that I have been in, the major airports, international airports in the Philippines, have money exchange places too. The exchange rate there is just a little bit less than what I usually get in the mall. And I usually do go to the bigger malls and find that I get a little bit better exchange rate than, especially out on the street. There you'll find that every other street here has a money exchange place in the city, and in the smaller towns probably they have that type of thing as well. But they may be out of the currency. They may not accept your currency, and your rate will be less than in the larger cities, I'm sure. I used banks and ATMs pretty much exclusively the first 2 years I was here, and they're very convenient. Number one, make sure you find a ATM that will accept an international card and that will allow you to withdraw cash. Not all ATMs are the same. And they give you 2 choices, has been my experience. They ask you what language you want. You have English or Taglish, which is a combination of Tagalog and English. Those are your choices, and make sure it has the card group membership that you should have listed on the back of your card to draw money out, either your debit card or your credit cards. Of course, credit cards charge a much higher interest rate and charge for that type of thing. I've never had a problem with a ATM taking and keeping my card, although I've had them go in and come back out very slowly, so I was a bit worried. Plan ahead. It's not unusual for ATMs to be either offline, so they don't work, under maintenance. This was in Iloilo City, pretty good sized city, and my first 5 attempts at using my debit card at an ATM machine failed. I think 3 or 4 of them were completely just under maintenance, and the other one took my card but wouldn't give any money out. Look on your debit card from your bank and make sure that you belong to one of the networks listed at that bank, because not all banks are created equal here. And not all belong to the same network. Plus is the card network that my ATM cards work on, and there's one that says Discover card on a lot of these, but my understanding there's only one machine in Manila that takes Discover debit cards. Beware of lurkers and fraud card readers that some people will put into the card reading slot to read your card and get your PIN number. There was a couple foreigners that were arrested a couple years ago in Thailand, were caught doing something like that. They claim they're innocent, but anyway, it happens. I try to use ATMs in public places, hopefully even with security near, and so just make sure that nobody's following you after you get your money as well. I have seen areas where beggars or kids hang out and wait for somebody to use them, and then of course ask for money. Also, ATMs have limits, 10,000 pesos per withdrawal. Can you withdraw more than once a day? It depends on your bank probably, because your bank probably has limits as well. The fee is usually 250 pesos recently, or about $5 US. Now, I'm told that China Bank doesn't have a fee. I'm told and a higher limit of 40,000 pesos, and that HSBC does not have a fee, and also about 40,000 pesos. Please correct me in the comments or tell me about your experiences. I use BPI, and the limit is, I think, 15,000, I believe. If you have an account at one of these banks, of course, I believe that your limit generally is much higher than that, and opening up a bank account is a topic for another video. I generally use money transfer services now, and I originally used Remitly, but they wanted to confirm I was me through a US phone number, and I didn't have a US phone number with me at the time, so I went with Zoom now. And convenience means a lot. You know, you can go to different services and get promos and save a couple of dollars. But convenience means a lot. I have a PayPal account, and Zoom is owned by PayPal, and I log in with my PayPal account and order money once a month, and within 2 seconds it says it's there. I can pick it up at, I think there's 5 or 6 different places. There are a couple of banks I can pick it up at, BDO Bank and Metro Bank, pick it up at Luhilier and Cebuano, a couple, Palawan perhaps. I think there's, there again, many places where I can pick it up. Now, not all of them. I usually pick up US dollars, and then I take the US dollar to a foreign money exchange and exchange those. It saves me $20 to $30 doing it that way rather than sending myself pesos because of their exchange rate. And this is a cash society here primarily, so these places are almost on every corner of the big cities, and even out in the smaller towns as well. So you should be able to send yourself pesos. Go in, fill out a little form, and make sure you have a couple good pieces of identification, and you shouldn't have any issues. I will tell you that if you exchange money in a bank or try to pick up money in a bank, they have additional financial record keeping requirements. Generally takes longer to do it there. I'm usually in and out of one of these places within 10 or 15 minutes, depending upon how many people ahead of me I have to wait for. Here are a few of the dozens of money transfer type companies, and you can pick it up many different places. They'll tell you. I suggested you set this up before you leave your home country. In fact, I suggest you set up at least 2 of them, because there's a chance that one of them will decide not to send you the money. They think it might be fraudulent. I've had that happen. I used World Remit. They sent me 1,000. 2 minutes later, they said they canceled it, wouldn't tell me why. Notify your bank and your credit card companies that you're traveling out of the country. And even then, assume that the first time or two that you try to use your cards, that they are not going to work. I have met a number of foreign travelers and expats who that has happened to, and they've had to end up using a credit card, which charges a much higher rate for cash, until they, a couple days later, a week later, they get that straightened out. Assume that your cards will not work, that you're going to have problems. Plan ahead, bring a little extra cash, and be prepared. Have the numbers, the contact information, be able to contact your companies to try to straighten that out. And I know many of you have not had any issues. I have not had any issues, but I know many people who have had those issues. Also, plan ahead just in case you're depending upon that pension check going in your bank every month, and you're on a tight budget, especially if you're on a tight budget. That what happens if that doesn't show up 1 month or 2 months or 3 months? I had it show up. I had it happen to me after 6 months that it didn't show up for 6 months, and it was because I had overestimated or underestimated how much I was going to make when I retired halfway through the year that I retired, and Social Security people penalized me. Took for every $2 above I think 16,000 that I made, they took $1 back, and took 6 months to pay that back, and surprised me. But I didn't come here totally broke. I had savings in the bank, so I survived. And remember, cash is king here. It's a cash society primarily. There are some stores in the malls that will take credit cards. Um, there are resorts that take credit cards. There are resorts and hotels that do not take credit cards. So you need to think ahead, plan ahead, and go from there. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Safe travels to you all. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at, and I'll see you next time.